mojito that smells like dog's feet!
Wait, I can totally make you way cooler.
I'm not taking your charity ice cubes, Jason. I have my pride.
Your pride is safe. Our plumbers can be at your house the day you call and install a whole home water purification system. Water tastes better, dishes come out cleaner, even your hair feels better after you shower.
Ooh, the ladies love a man with soft hair, don't they, Jason?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend every day worried about the water in your own home, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by TopDressing.com. Jag head coach Liam Cohen explained Duval DNA the team sought during the draft.
The players make up his personal character, his football character. And
The Magic lead the Pistons 2-1 in their first-round series and host Game 4 this evening in Orlando. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
Right now, 71 degrees at 9:59. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
With the 56th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Nate Borkacher, tight end, Texas A&M.
Ruff comes, Reed pumps, fires. It is caught. Nate Borkacher brings it in and ties the game.
With the 81st pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Albert Regis, defensive tackle, Texas A&M.
That's where I want to be. Like, I just loved the way the team played, the way the defense played, and I just knew it was a scheme that I could fit in. And then when I finally did a Zoom with them and went over some plays and got to understand their defense, I just knew that's where I wanted to be. And like, I knew I would thrive best in this defense.
With the 88th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, Jacksonville Jaguars select Emmanuel Pregnon, guard from Oregon.
Coming out of high school, I wasn't very heavily touted. I wasn't looked at, but I didn't let that discourage me. I knew that it was work to be done, work needed to be put in, and I was willing and ready to do whatever I needed to do to get the exposure that I needed so I could do my part on the field.
With the 100th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Jalen Husky, defensive back from Maryland.
Going with tempo, now going down the middle of the field, and it's going to be intercepted. Jalen Husky still on his feet.
The 119th pick of the 2026 NFL Draft, Wesley Williams from Duke.
Pressure coming and sacked. Brought down at the 21 by Wesley Williams.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select Tanner Kuzil, tight end, Houston. Duval!
Pressure again. Kuzil again.
With the 191st pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Josh Cameron, wide receiver, Baylor.
Robertson, the slant to Cameron, stays on his feet and walks right in, right around Mello Dotson.
With the 203rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select C.J. Williams, wide receiver, Stanford.
Going to the end zone, and Williams, he's got him! Touchdown, Cardinals!
The Jacksonville Jaguars select Zach Durfee, defensive end, Washington. Go Jags!
At the 13 on second down, and Zach Durfee got to Snyder.
Well, if there was ever a time the Huskies needed a big play, let's take a look at Durfee coming off the edge.
With the 240th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Parker Hughes, linebacker, Middle Tennessee.
He's somebody who can run very fast, find the football, track it down, and get ball carriers on the ground is going to be really helpful to our cause.
Now, Jaguars Today on 1010XL with Mike Dempsey, Fat Tony, and RJ Saunders.
All right, good morning, everybody. Coming to you live from the Southampton Golf Course out here on State Road 210 for the Guggen Open this morning. It is day one, Tony, for us to reflect on the NFL draft for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Excellent work there by R.J. Saunders. He got them all in so history can memorialize exactly the 10 players that were taken by the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, this wasn't one of those, let's put together a Travis Hunter package. We don't know which one of these guys is going to turn out to be the hidden gem or the overly drafted player,
sure, yeah.
Dare I say. How are things? How was the draft weekend for you?
It was fine. It's a draft weekend, right? Like, it is what it is. It's always like you get halfway through that Saturday, you're just like, oh, just let it end. You know, like that. You just get to that point when it's like, this is going to take a while. But yeah, I stuck it out.
Although for the Jags, late Saturday was when we started to make hay, Tony. We had all these late picks. You know, we were maneuvering around the board just a little bit on day two. So look, obviously, the philosophy that the Rams had, that the Jags are sort of appropriating to some degree with the deal for Travis Hunter last year, is the F them picks philosophy, right?
Sure.
Like, give us players, and we'll trade those picks for proven commodities, whatever. We'll move around the board. The picks themselves are not necessarily as important as putting guys that fit what our vision is on the field, okay? I think that needs to change now for Jaguar fandom to F them analysts, because honestly, you're not going to be happy otherwise. And let's be completely transparent here. If another team had drafted like the Jacksonville Jaguars, it doesn't mean they're wrong, by the way, the Jaguars, but if they had drafted this way, if the Titans had taken guys consistently over consensus, what would every Jag fan say? Reach, smartest guy in the room. All these different things, right, which we've seen play out over time, don't often work out. Now, from the Jags' point of view, they don't really care. And there are several reasons why, right? This is a kind of a unique draft class. You got a lot of guys that went back. I saw one report, some team had only 34 first and second round players on the board. That means there's 30 more picks in those rounds. What are you taking if you're stuck and you can't move out of there? People say, well, you could have gotten Borkircher later. Maybe you could, maybe you couldn't. I thought one of the best things I saw. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean, regardless, the risk of losing him wasn't worth it, but somebody posted a thought, hey, what was it, Martin Klein out of Michigan, wasn't necessarily in that range in a lot of mock drafts, and he went 3 picks later, the tight end, going to Houston. Had the Jags taken Klein, they would have said the same thing that people were saying about Borkircher. He would have been available later. Well, no, maybe he wouldn't have.
You don't know. It's the NFL draft, and you can't make every decision you're going to make about evaluating any of this based on some consensus board. You don't have the information that the guys inside the room have. That doesn't mean that you can't be upset about the player or what was available that you would have preferred and express that opinion. I think all of those kinds of things are fair.
Absolutely.
Right? So whatever frustration people have with it is, I think there are things that are a little bit beyond, what's reasonable as far as being upset about it. Like, that he was going to be available around later. You don't know that. Right? Like, you make assumptions when you're talking about your opinion on these things. Some of them go a little bit too far. That doesn't mean that I think you should be happy with what the Jags did this weekend, but it also doesn't mean that you have to make up reasons to be upset.
No, there will be also, though, teams that would adhere to the philosophy of, okay, we're going to get our number 2 tight end at best, primarily a blocking tight end here.
Sure.
And you can talk all you want about the pass-catching upside. That is what he's shown to be primarily to this point in his football career, is a physical, inline blocking tight end, good movement. He can get out there, and maybe he did flash soft hands throughout the postseason process, at the various bowl games and whatnot, and all that is true.
Sure.
Okay? But there are teams that would say, okay, I'm not going to take that position, that type of player there, regardless. And even if I lose out on him, I'm still not deviating from the process of what I think the value is.
Yeah, that's fine.
Look, to me, the big question I come away from with this whole draft process, you go back to last year, the Jaguars give up a couple of firsts and a second, and they get Travis Hunter, who's going to, not because he's this great corner, but because he's going to revolutionize the game of football. And he's going to play both ways. He's a unique guy. He's going to impact our offense as much as he is our defense. Okay, so you got Travis Hunter. You put all this investment in him. You then lost Travis Hunter. You needed a pass catcher midseason. Okay, you went out and got Jacoby Myers, but you didn't just trade for Jacoby Myers. You gave him a 3-year extension on top of that.
Yeah.
We've already heard them say that, yes, we're working on a deal with Parker Washington and Brenton Strange for that matter. So Parker Washington. Well, you also have Brian Thomas, okay, who is under contract for a few more years. So you've got these 4 guys. So now we're going to play 12 and 13 personnel all the time. When are these wide receivers going to play? What, you're making all this investment in the wide receiver room, and you want to be a 12 personnel team, and this is the way that the league is trending. Well, did you not recognize this trend a year ago, or is this just a new trend that came up during the season and you switched your philosophy? Because they sure were pouring into a lot of different types of wide receivers, and now it seems to be a little bit of a shift towards a more physical approach, more tight ends, more matchup problems. Koziel is that's what he is. He's a matchup red zone problem. Yeah. He's 6'7". Okay, but he's on the field. Then who's off? Which of these receivers are playing and which ones are not going to play? And is this a fundamental shift in the way you're looking at building your football team? And if it's not, I need to be able to kind of what's the word I'm looking for, justify, or that's not the exact word, of you're going to invest all this in Travis Hunter. Are you telling me now he's just a corner? And I know they're saying he's going to play both ways, but how much can he realistically play if you're playing 12 personnel a good percentage of the time and you've got these other guys out there? And when he does play, and if he's only playing 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or however many snaps a game, is that a tell that you've got packages in for Travis Hunter at that point in time? I don't know. That'll probably get worked out over the course of time.
Sure.
But that is, to me, the bigger question than is Borkircher worth the 56th pick in the draft? Is this a shift in philosophy of how you're building your offense and a shift within 1 year's time?
Yeah, I think the question is fair. I think it's fair to come out on either side of it in a lot of ways, because I think you can look at it and say maybe they did what they did in the draft because they wanted the flexibility that they just simply did not feel like they had in the offense last year with the options that were available to them. They said, when we want to go 12 and 13 personnel, we want to feel good about going to those groupings so that we can run the ball more effectively in short yardage, goal line, these situations. So they made that a priority. I think it's fair to view it that way. I think it's fair to view it with the Travis Hunter thing firmly in mind. I have said this virtually every time the conversation about tight end in the second and even the third round has come up. I've said, I don't think they're going to draft a tight end that isn't going to be that kind of blocking guy that has to be the mold of doing all of those kinds of things. So the kind of tight end they drafted is not a big surprise to me. Ultimately at 56, doing it at 56 was a surprise. And I also said every time the conversation came up, I am not interested in bringing anybody in that takes Travis Hunter off the field. I was not interested in going that direction with it. What they did indicates that they're at least comfortable with it, right? With whatever their plan is going to be.
It's Brian Thomas,
right?
Or it's Parker.
I don't
or it's
know.
Jacoby.
I don't
somebody.
know. What the plan is in that kind of regard, but it clearly is. There is a plan in place for them to go this direction with what they did in the draft. They're comfortable with it. This is the first real moment in the whole process with these guys of, do I trust their process or don't I? Right? Like, this is the first real, that kind of moment for me in the whole thing, because there's a lot of stuff they did this weekend that I was like, okay.
And by the way, for the record, and I'll speak for you here because I've known you for a long time, that doesn't mean they're wrong.
No.
Okay? It doesn't mean that.
Not
We're
at
not
all.
going to sit here and tell you they had to take this and they're wrong because they didn't take my guy.
No.
I was conditioned a certain way. I wanted Anthony Hill at linebacker. He fell right to him. Like, damn, this looks like the spot. Oh, we got
I'm very comfortable with the idea of an NFL draft. You really don't know for 2 or 3 years if you were right about anything.
That doesn't mean we don't have a job to do.
No.
And we are going to critique it and look back at it. Look, we're just getting started. Today is usually a high-volume phone call day, and we would invite it to be that once again here at 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hit us up that way as well and give us your feedback. Simple question, what's your reaction to the draft? Okay, don't need you to make a stump speech. Don't make it personal. If you can say you hate the pick, don't make it personal about the individuals making a pick. But you can say idiotic pick. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Just try to keep some base level of decorum here. I understand people's emotions run hot around their football team. People care. It's passionate. It is the thing that drives the biggest TV ratings of anything in the United States of America. By far, more people care about the NFL than probably should care about the NFL. But fortunately for us, they do, because we have programs like this that keep us gainfully employed. So if you want to get it off your chest this morning, or maybe say, hey, you know what? I see the vision. That's fine too. Whatever it is, we don't screen them for like pro, con. Come in, state your case. Again, don't make a speech, because hopefully we'll have a lot of people wanting to get in. By the way, we look fantastic, don't we, on the stream this morning? YouTube, X, Facebook. I think, honestly, out here at Southampton, it's a little chilly. I will say that, right under the ceiling fan. I do got the jacket on, but, Tone, it's half the commute for me. Maybe we can work on this on a more regular basis. I kind of like that. So hello to everybody watching on the stream today. You can hit us up on the socials at MD_1010XL at 1010XL Fato, and R has no J. RJ Saunders, how was your weekend?
Very busy, I should say. I was here doing the draft show for the Jacksonville Jaguars on late Friday. Then we also had the NBA playoffs going on Saturday as well as Sunday. So just a lot of stuff, kind of going on in the sports world that we had to keep abreast on. And now we get to talk about what the Jags did in the NFL draft. And hopefully we have a lot of individuals, wanting to scream in the positive light, Mike, because it doesn't seem that the national media is glowing about what the Jags did in the draft.
Nobody has to come in here and back the Jags or not back the Jags, right? Honest opinions are all we're looking for on that front. So let's take a break here, because we have a lot to get to today, a lot of thoughts, and we barely scratched the surface on the first pick. Never mind the other 9 guys that are new Jacksonville Jaguars, plus all the undrafted free agents. Man, they got, Garrett DiGiorgio, Tone? 6'7", 320, is a massive mountain of a man. I don't know if he can play a lick, but he's a big dude, and that stood out to me, along with Joey Aguilar and a couple of notable guys on there. So we'll see how it all works out. It's the first day for you to weigh in on the Jaguars draft class. Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith live at Southampton. It's the Guggen Open Golf Tournament. They just got underway a few minutes ago. First tee shots have already been hit. So everybody having a great day out here. I think the rain's going to hold off is what the forecast looks like for me. So some nice soft greens for those approach shots today, and hopefully a lot of birdie putts going in. MD, Tony Smith, and RJ Saunders here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
She's not very good with numbers.
We've got your winning numbers right here.
Let's count to 10, all right?
10. XL.
Aren't you forgetting something?
92.5 FM.
We are number 1.
Tom McManus here for Armstrong Fence Company, a locally owned and operated business on the First Coast for nearly 20 years. Known for reliability, quality craftsmanship, and professional service, Armstrong Fence handles it all, from big projects like stadiums and schools to your very own backyard. They build a wicked strong fence, and they do it right the first time. When you need a fence in Jacksonville, trust Armstrong Fence Company. Yeah, we did the fence.
Jaguars Today.
It's a Dream Finders Homes Monday.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated ViStar Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game, and kids around the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
See Gators basketball from the eyes of the guy who lived in the swamp. Take Time Out with Patrick Young.
Shoots and scores, and he got fouled.
Friday morning at 8:30 on The Drill with Dan and Jeff. Tipped off by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and Kuhn Flowers.
Mike Dempsey here for big #1 Duval Ford. Hundreds will gather to walk for those living with ALS at the Walk to Defeat ALS Jacksonville, Saturday, May 2nd, 10 a.m. at Friendship Fountain. Register or donate at als.org/walkjacksonville.
Homeowners, ready to open your home to spring and shut out high energy bills? It's the 1 month only sale with Renewal by Anderson. Right now, buy one, get one 40% off windows and doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. But this offer expires April 30th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Yo, ET here. And you know that on the field, preparation wins championships, right? Well, the same goes for your health. Right here in my side of town in Fleming Island, Encore Research Group is helping locals take charge through cutting-edge research studies. Everything from weight loss to diabetes and hypertension. Their team of local, multi-specialty doctors is focused on advancing medicine and keeping our community healthy. If you want to see if you qualify, check them out at encoredocs.com.
At G&H Tires and Service, the G stands for great pricing. The H, well, that means honest service. For over 20 years, Roger and his team have helped Jacksonville drivers stay safe on the road. Need brakes, oil change, AC not blowing cold? Well, how about a super affordable $36 oil change? Affordable brake jobs, AC checks before summer hits, alignments for all these construction roads, and even free check engine light inspections. Locally owned, community driven. G&H Tires and Service on Beach Boulevard.
Hey, it's Brent with Arcosa Crushed Concrete. If you've got concrete or asphalt rubble on your site, let me buy it from you, and I will recycle it into construction material for your future projects. Arcosa Crushed Concrete. Get paid for what you don't need.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you have told us about buying better quality diamonds, but is there any way to start with a smaller diamond and use it to trade up to a larger diamond later on?
Frank, it's interesting you'd ask that because our founder, H.F. Underwood, popularized growing your diamond here in Jacksonville about 50 years ago, and it's something we still do today. When a customer buys an Underwood engagement ring or solitaire diamond pendant or a pair of ear studs, we guarantee they get the price they paid for it on the purchase of any larger diamond. Now, a lot of stores would say, big deal. We do that too, but here's the Underwood difference. We guarantee you get what you paid when you trade in your Underwood diamond, even if you're trading up by only $1. It's not that you have to trade up 2 for 1 like most jewelers ask. There have been literally thousands of people in the Jacksonville area who have taken advantage of our policy, and Underwood still grows a lot of diamonds for a lot of people.
Underwood, serving excellence since 1928. In San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Everything you need to know about the Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, we want to get to these calls, and we will momentarily, Don. I got so many thoughts I want to pour out there. Just want to get a few more before we really get underway. I will say this: if you are disdainful of the analysts, the so-called experts, using the air quotes on that, who are criticizing your pick of Borkercher, I'm going to get it right, Nate. I swear to you, that calling him a reach or whatever. Well, then don't celebrate getting Emmanuel Pregnon late in the 3rd round. Well, he was projected as it. You can't choose the projections you want to look at and say, well, we got to steal here. We shouldn't be criticized for reaching here. If you want to take it all in its sum total, that's fine. If you just want to say, hey, I hope we got a good player. It was surprising that Pregnon was there based on what we were conditioned to think.
Yep.
But the NFL clearly let him slide there, Tone. The Jags, with a bunch of run-stuffing defensive tackles on the board, when Albert Regis had pick 81, risking that Pregnon would not be there with the next pick. Yep. So clearly he wasn't their top priority in that range of the draft. Now, I'm glad they got him, but the other thing, again, this is just the nature of the way it works, right? You're going to compare them to the picks that came near or immediately after. Like, I will look at that Anthony Hill selection, and he goes to Tennessee, and he goes with Robert Saleh. And, keep in mind, Robert Saleh is the guy that turned Quincy Williams, who was a Jaguar castoff once upon a time, into a Pro Bowler the linebacker, all pro, right? So he takes Anthony Hill, I think, at pick 60. You take Regis at pick 81, Dominique Orange is one pick later. Now, look, they obviously like Regis better, or they wouldn't have taken him, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But there's going to be that direct comparison. And Tony, as it was getting close to the end of the round, I said it. And look, I'm not privy to the medicals at all, obviously, but I would have swung on Jermod McCoy with pick 100. He is universally seen as a first-round talent. And I would take a chance, even if I got 3 years out of that guy and his knee blew up. If you're getting first-round level play for 3 years at a pick 100, oftentimes those guys never crack the starting lineup. So what happens overnight? The Raiders make a move. They go up the board. They take him at pick 101. So, again, if he turns into be a Pro Bowler, you had the opportunity to get him there at a vastly discounted value. And, I hope Jalen Husky turns out to be great. I understand their philosophy. I saw them, in the pressers, Liam Cohen and James Gladstone talking about, look, with us moving more towards these multiple tight end sets and other teams in the league, you need bigger, tight bodies that are capable of covering those guys. And they feel Husky will help them in that regard, and that's fine. So they have a vision for how he fits. But, man, I would think a first-round talent corner is worth a roll of the dice on at that point. Now, obviously, they have access to the medicals, but so did the Raiders. Right, who presumably had the same info, and they took him one pick later.
It doesn't make the Raiders right or the Jaguars right. We don't know. Like, as we said in the openings, you don't know. For a couple years,
I still
how any of
got
this
my opinion.
No, I know. And if he had been the name that was called at 56, I wouldn't have been surprised. If it had happened at 81, I wouldn't have been surprised. 88, 100. Like, any of those spots, if they had pulled the trigger on, I would have been like, okay. Right, they're comfortable with it. I'm good with it, right? If they wanted to go that direction for whatever myriad of reasons, they weren't comfortable with it, so they went a different direction. I'm with you. Like, any of those spots, if they had pulled the trigger on that, I would have been like, good, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're getting,
especially at 100,
a guy
man.
that's being evaluated as a top 20 player in this draft, right? Like, we're talking about consensus boards here, but a top 20 player in this draft, but he has the issues physically that he has, so he's coming into the league, he drops to the top of the fourth round. I would have been comfortable in any of those spots having picked him. They chose not to.
Oh, by the way, at his pro day, they
tell.
said he had no restrictions. He looked great moving around. So I don't know. Who knows? Maybe in a few years he's out of the league, or maybe he's like Miles Jack, and you get a couple of contracts out of that guy. If
you keep waiting on the knee to blow up, and it never did.
Right. And, again, I think that's a worthwhile risk to take at pick 100. That's for me. Obviously it wasn't for them. Right or wrong, time will always tell on that. That doesn't mean we don't have instant opinions on these kind of things. All right, 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines. Let's go out to James on the south side. Going to get in first today on Jaguars Today. James, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Everything you just said is my thinking exactly. But to add on to that, I guess us fans, as fans alone, we been conditioned by all the players' names through these mock drafts and all.
No doubt.
We basically have our opinions on certain players. So with that in mind, for me, I look at the roster and say, you got needs. It's not just want, it's needs. And for me, the Jaguars, certain areas of the roster needed to be improved, bringing guys who actually can compete, start, not supplementing depth. To me, a bunch of the draft choices at best going to be special team players. So that's my problem with the whole draft as a whole. They seem to be drafting guys that actually can come in day one and compete to make them better at certain positions. So that's just my take on the draft as a whole.
All right, James. Appreciate, man. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us here. Look, let me be fair, too. I always try to be fair to the Jags. I'm not here to bury them. I'm not here to just praise them and blindly go, trust in Gladstone. There was once upon a time in Gene We Trust was a motto about Gene Smith, right? And I don't know if there was ever that about Trent Baalke, but you get the idea, right? And people, well, if these analysts were smart enough, they'd work for NFL teams. In many cases, that's true. Right? But that doesn't mean that every GM who works for an NFL team ends up doing a good job. I'm not weighing in on a final determination on that on the Jags whatsoever, but you may like the guys, you may like the overall direction of the team. They didn't get a ton out of the draft class last year, Tone. No. But this year in particular, to be fair, is if you've got teams, and you heard it repeatedly, these analysts that are plugged in, right? Lance Zierlein, Peter Schrager, guys that do talk to GMs around the league saying, well, I heard 12 to 15 first-round grades, okay? Yep. I told you this morning, I think it was Zierlein put out there, he talked to some teams, said they had 34 players graded as first or second-round picks. So by the time you're in that type of draft and you get to the 5th round, what are you going to be drafting? You're not going to be drafting instant impact,
right?
Walk-in-the-door starters. They have 4 good wide receivers on this team, if you count Travis Hunter. They added 2 more with, I think, an idea of the Jake Bobo role, who they signed to that offer sheet. Give me a big physical guy. We want to impose our will. This Jaguar draft shows you they want toughness, character, and they want to punch you in the mouth and punch you in the mouth again, and then punch you in the mouth and kick you about 6 more times, and impose their damn will on you whether you like it or not. That's the kind of football team they want to be.
They wanted flexibility they didn't have last year. So they drafted to bring in some of that flexibility. Okay, I don't know if their calculus on this is going to wind up being correct. Time will tell, on that kind of thing. But I do think it's fair to look at what jobs were actually even potentially open, right? Like a starting spots for the Jacksonville linebacker would be one. And I think the answer that we all got coming out of the draft is they don't prioritize linebacker.
Not much.
Right? They just don't prioritize that particular position. We'll see again if they're right or wrong about doing that kind of thing, but it was one of the spots they had. It's the second year in a row that we've gone into the draft thinking that third edge needs to be a priority for this football team going into the draft, and it hasn't been all that much of a priority. Last year, they didn't address it at all. This year, they waited till day 3, to address it at all. For whatever reason, they just haven't done it the last couple of years. I don't know if it's the players that have been available when they've been on the clock. I don't know all the reasons for those kinds of things, but we've now seen them in action for 2 years, and we've all had our priorities going into the draft, what we think they should be worried about going in. It's been 2 years in a row at edge, certainly, that they haven't done anything about it, and now a year where everyone was on the linebacker thing. I know, I would say it every now and then. I'm not surprised if they don't address it till day 3 and feel like they can get something with Ventura Miller as a combination of be all right.
You also would reference that's because of the depth of the linebacker group,
Absolutely.
Right?
And that they didn't touch it until the 7th round still surprised me. And I was the guy that wasn't all that surprised that they didn't do it in the first 2 days of the NFL draft. But even as long as they waited to address it was a bit of a surprise to me. They're giving you indications of what they do and do not prioritize. So if you're not willing to change your own priorities going into it, that's fair. You can have your priorities be whatever they are. Theirs are going to be what they are, and they're going to draft the way they want to draft.
Yeah, I don't really have any issue with what they did at edge. I really personally don't. No. The Wesley Williams pick, look, if they had taken a guy at 56, I still would have been, I could see it because pass rush is important, but you're drafting a non-starter there. But instead they drafted a non-starter in oftentimes. They're not always going to open in 12 personnel. And so Borkircher is going to be a non-starter some of the time, okay? So you did that at a position that seems easier to fill to us than finding pass rush, but it's not like they ignored it. I think the Wesley Williams pick, if they have a vision for him being that third guy, they're invested in their starters, right? So spending the 56th pick on a pass rusher there who's going to play in sub packages only, we could have critiqued that as well. All right, let's get Ron in Ponte Vedra next up with an opinion here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Ron.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I'm very unhappy with the draft. And I got to tell you, let's go back to memory lane just a couple of months ago. The reason we got knocked out of the playoffs is because Josh Allen got the ball back behind 1 minute left and drove 93 yards on us, and we couldn't stop him. That's why we got knocked out. We didn't get knocked out because we didn't have 13 tight ends on the roster, okay? You lost your best defensive player. How are you better now? So not only could you not stop him last year with Devin Lloyd, now you don't even have Devin Lloyd. But, we've got 13 tight ends. So I don't know how that's going to stop anybody this year.
Well, clearly the tight ends are not going to stop anybody. I would agree with you on that. And, Ron, I appreciate your opinion. Let's take a time out. I don't want to, just brush past what Ron had to say, but we are up against a break. So let's memory hole that one a little bit and talk about it when we come back. If you want to get next in line, we got room for you here at 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines. Question today, pretty simple. What's your reaction to what the Jaguars did in the 2026 NFL Draft? We're live at Southampton out here for the Guggen Open Golf Tournament. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, RJ Saunders back at World Headquarters. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, transponders, and even high-tech smart locks. For honest, professional locksmith service, Instant Keys comes to you.
Dreamfinders Homes, Monday.
On Jaguars Today.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I can tell you as Walk-Off Charities has grown, we now manage a large athletic facility with numerous fields, including the Bregan Baseball Complex. To get around, we needed a good, reliable golf cart. I went straight to Dynamic Drives and Design in Jack's Peak. I met with Travis, told him exactly what our needs were. Would you believe before you knew it, the perfect cart was delivered to us at an incredible price? If you need a golf cart, Travis and his team are the go-to. Learn more about them at dynamicdrivesdesign.com.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Hacker here with a tip about how to make mama happy. A floral arrangement from Kuhn Flowers. I just brought home a dozen red roses from Kuhn, and she went crazy over them. Mother's Day is coming next month. Why not order today? KuhnFlowers.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hi, Frank Frangie here, inviting you to join my wife and me June 22nd of 2027 as we experience the food, wine, and culture of iconic Italy with Colette. Our journey takes us to historic cities and enchanting medieval towns. We'll enjoy a wonderful 7-night stay in the Montecatini Term A famous resort and spa town nestled in the heart of the rolling hills of Tuscany. Visit the cultural treasures of Florence, Pisa, and lovely Lucca. Along the way, we'll discover the food, wine, and old world charm, and even have a special chef-led cooking class. This and so much more. Colette handles the details, flights, hotels, meals, and the local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss joining my wife and me in Italy. Now to learn more, visit 1010XL.com or call Colette at 800-581-8942.
Come away with me.
That's 1010XL.com or call Colette at 800-581-8942.
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation? From a real person? Good luck. That is what's so nice about Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Unlike publicly traded conglomerates with headquarters in faraway cities, Mike Merritt's Heating and Air remains family-owned and operated by Mike, your neighbor. Mike Merritt has delivered hometown service, integrity, and pricing for generations. The big guys incentivize their techs to sell you new equipment. Mike's team emphasizes repair first. We only sell you equipment if your current equipment is worn out and beyond repair. And let's be honest about price. Small operations without much overhead can sometimes lowball your job, but you can't trust just anyone with a truck. They may be here today and gone tomorrow. Mike Merritt has been keeping North Florida cool for more than 3 decades. That's experience and dedication you can count on. Call today or see us on the web.
Florida license number CAC 050384.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, to Ron's point from Ponte Vedra, I remember to actually address something that happened before break.
Yeah.
Talking about pass rush, right? We lost because we couldn't get the quarterback on the ground. Well, plenty of teams have lost in that situation with Josh Allen, but we did, and granted, right? And we've seen it before. We saw it a few years ago with Chad Henne leading a 98-yard drive, right? Just get after this guy. So I get it, 100%. And had they taken an edge rusher at 56, nobody would have batted an eye, right? But if you say, what do they do to improve their pass rush? I'm not saying this is enough. I'm not their PR firm. I'm saying this is what I think they would tell you, okay? They would tell you, A, Trayvon Walker playing without a club this year on his hand, okay? And we're paying these guys 50-ish something $million. Go get us 20 sacks, right? That's where it starts with those guys, okay? We traded Mason Smith for Ruka Rororo, who Mason Smith is like a bump on a log here. And Rook, at least, they both had about the same amount of sacks in their 2-year career, but Mason's came as a rookie. Rook came last year, so you hope he's ascending. He's more of a 3 technique. He's going to give you a little bit of push. I'm saying this is their point of view.
Their mental calculus,
right?
yeah.
Wesley Williams, we love him, right? He's super athletic, can play the run and the pass. He's a two-way guy. We made a move up, small move in the 4th round to get him, and we expect continued development from B.J. Green, Danny Strigo. Will that be the answer? Nobody knows. If it is, great. Your vision came to pass. If it's not, I think Ron's criticism will come back up and many others who've brought it up.
Well, I think we can all be guilty of this, the tunnel vision we get when a game like that goes the other way. Like the last drive is the one you remember. What about 4th and 2? Right? What if they had another blocking tight end on the field that made a difference on that play? Do they win the game?
Yeah.
If they convert on that 4th down? We don't know what the answer to that is, but the takeaway for a lot of people is, well, Buffalo drove down the field late, and that's why they won the game. I talk about this with the Super Bowl every year, too. We all get too committed in reacting to, well, if they did it that way, then that's now the way that you do it. Right? And it's way more complicated than that. I can understand everyone getting caught up in whatever they get caught up in with these things. I'm not even saying that I necessarily agree with the Jaguars that the way that they handled this draft and the way that they seem to be addressing the issues that they feel they have going from one season to the next is the correct way to do it. It's certainly not the way that I would have done it, right, if I was making the decisions in the draft, but I don't think what they're doing is unreasonable based on the weaknesses that they perceived in themselves coming out of last season, going into the second year of this. I can understand their why for a lot of the decisions that they made this weekend. It doesn't mean I agree with what they did.
And by the way, for the record, I've disagreed probably every year with a lot of picks that the Jags have ever made in any regime. Sometimes I was right. Sometimes I was dreadfully wrong.
Absolutely.
Right? I stumped for Matt Jones in the 1st round. Hands up. All right. Guilty. All right. So I'm not here to tell you that I know better, but clearly, like, Anthony Hill was worth a pick in that range. Right. But to them, not based on their scheme, we think, well, we've got him, but we've got Ventrell Miller. We got Dennis Gardeck back, who's another piece of that pass rush. Now he's a year further removed from injury. We have Jack Kaiser, who we invested in last year. And we're going to run a lot of 5 defensive back sets. So we're only going to play 2 linebackers a lot of the time. Now, the interesting thing, I did read people saying commentary on the weekend, well, when they let Devin Lloyd go, that showed you. Well, Devin Lloyd said they made an offer to him. Now, I don't think the Jags are stupid, and they offered him the league minimum, right? And so they offered him something that indicated they would have had him back at a certain price. And if he had said, you know what, I'll take the hometown discount, I don't know how close it was, right? But they could have. There was a world in where Devin Lloyd was going to be back here. And so, which is it? You want him or you don't want him? Well, we like him, but I guess if we don't get him back, we could pivot to this. I mean, that's reasonable,
we have a price, and we're going to stick to our price on it. Okay,
but it's not. But my point being, they didn't just say, done with Devin Lloyd, don't need a linebacker.
No.
According to Devin Lloyd himself, the Jags made him an offer. He didn't put a number on that. So they clearly had some degree of interest in running it back with Devin Lloyd. All right, back to the phones we go. Jeff at the Beach is next up here on Jaguars Today. Jeff, good morning.
Yeah, hey, good morning. I was like scratching my head on the tight end, but then they pulled Pregnon in the third round and love that kid. Mauler, gonna be there. I see them running the two tight end set with he's gonna be a day one starter. And I just see that happening, that they're just gonna push that one in. So I'll flip the fact that Pregnon should have been a higher pick and they got him in the third and they go from there. So that kid is a beast, and I love him as a mauler. He's just going to be fantastic. So I see them opening up the running game a lot more with it, and I think they tipped their hand a little bit when they drafted so much on the tight end side. So that's just my opinion.
No, I absolutely agree they're going to lean into the running game. But again, why do you extend Jacoby for 3 years? Why did you give up all that capital for Travis Hunter? Why are you talking about extending Parker Washington? You still have Brian Thomas. If you're running two tight ends, at minimum, 2 of those 4 are not on the field, okay? If you're running jumbo, then 3 of those 4, if you're running a 13 personnel package out there. So, look, and the thing with Pregnon, you can't flip. They could have had Pregnon at 88. And, oh, by the way, we got a steal. And that wasn't the vernacular Jeff used, right?
Received, yeah.
Well, the NFL didn't value him in the first 87 picks, right? So whereas you could say, well, the pundits didn't value Borkircher that high. Well, the league had 88 chances to take Emmanuel Pregnon, including the Jags at 81. And they passed on him for a defensive tackle that wasn't on most of our radar screens. Again, that doesn't mean he's the wrong defensive tackle to take. They still got Pregnon, but had he gone at pick 86, they had no control of that coming off the board. And by the way, the thing about taking edge at 56, Tone, I'm looking at the draft tracker here, and I believe the only pure edge that came off the board between 56 and 81 was Kieron Crawford out of Auburn. Okay? So unless they were hoping he fell, there's no edge that they were even interested in that range, because they could have had almost any of them at pick 81 or 88.
Yeah, everyone was still open there for them when they finally came on the clock again at 81. And, talking about the Pregnon thing here for a moment as well, we can talk about what the draft means for a lot of different things. I know a lot of people were reacting to it from a Britton Strange extension, and I saw you put something out on X about it this weekend, and I tend to agree with you. I don't think it says much about whether or not they're willing to do a deal with Strange, going forward. But I do think the question can and should be asked, can Wyatt Milam win a starting job on this offensive line?
I don't know.
With Pregnon coming in?
I don't know.
Right?
Well, and I look at it this way. Even if Pregnon doesn't start this year, is your starting pair of guards next year Milam and Pregnon, right? Because Ezra Cleveland's got one more year left. Let the competition begin, right? But let's find out.
And what is that? Is McCary truly now just a do-everything guy for them?
Don't know, right? I would hope that Milam beats out McCary at the very least. Now, if Pregnon beats out Milam, so be it.
Yeah.
But you took them both in almost an identical range.
Yes, they did.
Of the draft in terms of Milam. Let's not, right, you can't just and what does this mean for Caleb Ransaw? Does this selection of Husky have anything to do with the help of Caleb Ransaw? I don't know if that's the case or not. Let's get Isaiah checking in from Dallas next up here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Isaiah.
Good morning, guys. So I had a question. For months leading up to the draft, we understood that picks 50 to 150 were all basically the same, and it was pick your flavor. So if picks 50 and 150 are basically the same, then why is it considered a reach if the Jags were to pick player A over player B within that range? The second part of the question is Jacksonville media and Jacksonville fans know how out of touch national media and national pundits are about this team. So why are we taking their opinions about, pick player 60 is X value and player 80 is this value when it comes to Jaguars matters? I'll take your comments off the air.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to pay attention to anybody's opinion on it. But I don't believe that pick 50 and pick 150 there's 100 players that are exactly the same. I don't believe that. Now, I get that there is, it's a diluted draft. Guys are going back to school because of NIL, right? They got the COVID extent. Guys are sticking around in college longer, so the back half of the draft is less. But it still can come down to positional value. Is the value, what is the role? How much will Borkircher actually play? Because, Tony, I was under the impression that they picked up, what was it, Quentin Morris last year, and he did a really nice job as a physical blocker, so much so that they went out and re-signed him and brought him back. I feel like it's a skill set that is more readily available. There are more of those guys that you can find. Now, they must think that Borkircher is very special and that maybe he could do more in the passing game than he's shown, and all that is fine. And that is why you'd sit here and you wouldn't bat an eye taking the edge rusher at 56, because that seems to be a more impactful position and harder to find. Teams are always looking to fill edge rush. Obviously, teams are loading up on tight ends right now, but does that mean you still can't find an effective blocking tight end later? I don't know that that's not the case.
No, we don't know. I will say it's fair to look at what actually happened in the draft. Maybe the Jags were the ones that started it, but there were a lot of tight ends that kind of fit that profile that went basically in that round, right? Like when the Jaguars did what they did, there were a bunch of them that came off the board that profile more, like at least lean towards they give you what they give you in the blocking game and they give you a little bit in the receiving game, right? Like there was a profile with a bunch of tight ends that came off the board basically in a run there, and it was just one after another, 5 or 6 names came off the board. So there's something in the league that everyone's trying to adjust to right now that doesn't make me any less surprised that the Jags were willing to do it at 56. I'm still surprised.
We got to take a break. We'll come back. More of your reaction is welcome at 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines, live at Southampton for the Guggen Open Golf Tournament. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Jags, Gators, high school heroes. 1010XL covers it all. The 1010XL network is now streaming on YouTube and all your favorite social channels at 1010XL.
Hey, Hickett here, and oh man, TopDressing.com came and hit my lawn with that deep aeration and overseeding. I got to see their truck. Ooh, is that cool? It's like a transformer. Aerators rolling right off it. They punched the yard. They dropped their proprietary mix and cleaned up like they were never there. Next step, rich, green St. Augustine grass. If your lawn needs a real turnaround, call TopDressing.com today for your free estimate. They'll make your grass look like a golf course for real. Call today and top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Here's a health and wellness tip from orthopedic specialists of Jacksonville.
Every joint in the body was designed for movement. Inactivity can cause stiffness, weakness, weight gain, and decrease in overall balance. So you should strive for at least 30 minutes a day of exercises that promote flexibility like yoga, strengthening with weights, and cardiovascular fitness like walking, swimming, or biking. The more you move, the better you will feel, and your overall health will benefit. Let's get healthy, Jax. Go Jags.
Stay healthy with orthopedic specialists of Jacksonville. Jaguars Today Monday is built by Dream Finders Homes.
Official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy, why so glum?
Stinky ice cubes, Jason. It's all downhill from here.
What?
The tap water at my place smells kind of funky. Funky tap water makes funky ice cubes. I meet a nice girl, invite her back to my place for a cocktail, and blow my whole romantic gesture with a mojito that smells like dog's feet!
Wait, I can totally make you way cooler.
I'm not taking your charity ice cubes, Jason. I have my pride.
Your pride is safe. Our plumbers can be at your house the day you call and install a whole home water purification system. Water tastes better, dishes come out cleaner. Even your hair feels better after you shower.
Ooh, the ladies love a man with soft hair, don't they, Jason?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend every day worried about the water in your own home, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hicken here. Experience crystal clear vision with the Eye Associates, formerly Bow 9 Associates, Schneider Eye and Wellness Center, and Janet Betchkel, MD, Jacksonville's leader in advanced eye care. From routine eye exams to specialized vision care, their experienced team dedicated to improving and preserving your vision. The same care you've come to trust, now with a new name. To schedule your appointment today, call the Eye Associates, formerly Bow 9 Associates, Schneider Eye and Wellness Center, and Janet A. Betchkel, MD, at 296-0098.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins.
If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein and Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein and Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Sent in, and Sporting Jacks breaks through first.
For the latest on Jacksonville's pro soccer teams, join the Sporting Jacks Coaches Show, presented by Honda of the Avenues, every Tuesday night at 6 on 1010 AM and 1010XL.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Well, it's not far down to paradise.
Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith here with you, along with a cast of thousands out on the course right now at Southampton. The Guggen Open annual golf tournament going on. It's a great venue, a lot of fun to play, a little shamble format right there, which I believe everyone hits a drive and you play from the best drive, play your own ball in from that point, if I'm not mistaken. But so a lot of folks out there on the course right now. Great chance for you to get in this morning if you want to weigh in on the Jaguars draft class. That is obviously what we're talking about today, Tony. Just want to go back real quick to the whole debate on both sides, on the analysts versus the front office guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, front office guys are front office guys for a reason. Well, then they're front office guys that make dumb things and get fired. I mean, every GM that is employed right now, 90% of them are going to be fired one day. You don't have many Ozzie Newsomes that go out on their own accord, right? Now, you say that and you go, well, how come some of these guys, well, these analysts are making a bunch of money. If you want to be a scout or whatever. Well, a scout is a little bit different because, yeah, they're lower on the totem pole. But I saw Matt Miller get asked by Dan Patrick about this during the draft coverage. And he's like, so do you think you could do a better job drafting than the Cleveland Browns? And he kind of joked. He's like, no. Honestly, I make comments and I grade players and I make snarky comments, but there's a lot more involved. And he goes, but I'd try it in a heartbeat. So don't think that these analysts are like, oh, I make more money being an analyst on Twitter. Wouldn't jump at the chance.
Absolutely,
Mike Mayock did it. Mike Mayock went from the TV booth. How'd that work out?
Right.
With the Raiders. He sucked, right? Mike Mayock, by the way, and this is where the analysts do a good job. It's historically proven. The first 100 picks, Mayock would tell you, he ain't Mel Kiper. He didn't know the back end of the draft. He focused on the top 100 players, and that was what his area of expertise was. When he had to handle the whole enchilada, didn't do very well with the Raiders. So I don't know if that is applicable to one thing or another, but I hear this debate, well, if you were any good at it, you'd be a GM. Well, some of them make the claim that no, for one thing, there's only 32 GM jobs, but you'd be working for a team. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe they do make more than a scout. Some of them probably do. The big name guys probably do. But here's Matt Miller, who is, in the top 10 in draft analysts because he's one of the featured guys at ESPN, right? And so if you're doing your draft analyst rankings, he would fall maybe even higher than that. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if I could do it, but I'd jump at the chance in a heartbeat. So don't think they wouldn't.
And generally, talking about that, the system corrects itself, right? Like, that's why these guys lose jobs all the time, and head coaches and GMs get replaced in the NFL, because when they get into these kind of situations, look, you can react however you want to what the Jags did this weekend. You don't think these guys are going to be very seriously judged on the decisions they made this weekend? They absolutely will. How good or bad is the team going to be, and how directly is that an impact of the decisions they made this weekend? We won't know. There's a period of time for which we won't know what the answer to that is. But if a lot of people out there that are very frustrated and think they handled it completely wrong, if that is the reality of the situation, then jobs will be on the line. At some point, someone will pay the penalty for it being bad when it's bad, and they get rewarded when it's good. That's the nature of the NFL.
And by the way, if Borkircher turns out to be a really, a guy that makes some decleating tackles, and maybe he does catch 25 balls or whatever, and he's really impactful, and this Jags team turns into the bully on the block that can run it down your throat when it matters
then
most.
They were right.
And you're not going to care that he was taken at 56. Yeah. But if he's not that, and he's just another guy who's, okay, one of a dime a dozen blocking tight ends. Now, here's the thing. They clearly don't think he's a dime a dozen.
No.
Okay? And so one of our callers said, between 50 and 100, they're all the same. That's what the analysts – well, that's what the analysts are saying. Are we agreeing with the analysts now, or are we disagreeing with the analysts? Right. Because clearly the Jags – coveted Borkircher, and they didn't think he was just as good as the 100th pick. You know how? And people will say, well, it's a bad draft. Nobody's going to trade up. There were plenty of trades made. And if you really felt that way, let's say you were, you believe that 56 is no different than 100. Well, let's say the cost to move up from 80 to 56 is a second-round pick next year. I don't know. Just make it up. If you really felt that the drop-off was insignificant, why wouldn't you take less than that return and entice people to come up? Because we're going to get as good a player, and we're going to stockpile picks next year. That wasn't happening. No. By the way, nobody was trading 2027 picks throughout this process.
Nobody wants out of next year.
The quality of next year's draft is expected to be significantly higher in most cases. That won't be the case at every single position, obviously. All right, halfway home, if you want to get in, 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC. Phone lines live at Southampton for the Guggen Open. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, RJ Saunders at World Headquarters. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for my friends at Dandy Foods. Look, I've talked about Dandy for well over a decade. I've been a customer of theirs for over 30 years, long before I ever started talking about them on the radio, because Dandy delivers. They deliver high-quality, delicious food, reasonably priced, fantastic selection. If you walk into an area Circle K, head right to the Fresh Case and know that the Thompson family, a Jacksonville family, started the Dandy Corporation 70 years ago. That's right, 70 years. They've been perfecting their recipes. I love that tuna salad wedge, but go find your own, man. Whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, subs, sandwiches, protein packs, veggie trays, gourmet salads, fruit cups, they got a little something for everybody on the menu. Locally sourced ingredients as often as possible, delivered fresh daily, all around the First Coast. And again, the prices that put a smile on your face. Fill up your belly without emptying out your wallet. When you're hungry in Duval, Dandy's the name to know. So do what I do when you are. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Mess with black and teal, and you'll be black and blue when the day is through. 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party.
Meta World Peace, what's up, man?
Nah, that's not my name anymore, thanks to Hard Rock Bet.
We're doing this again, are we?
Now I go by Meta over rebounds, under assists, Meta the first basket, free throw, piece.
Huh, so you really can same-game parlay practically anything now on Hard Rock Bet.
It's the only place I play these days.
Download the Hard Rock Bet app and start playing today. Hard Rock Bet, roll with us.
Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida, must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Dreamfinders Homes Monday on Jaguars Today.
Not everyone is built for a cubicle. At Local 234, apprentices get paid to learn hands-on skills like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, the stuff Jacksonville runs on. No endless lectures, no massive student debt, just hands-on training, real jobs, and real pay. This is how you level up, by doing work that actually matters. Check them out at UA234.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call Zero Res. Hey, Hicken here. Step into a fresher, cleaner home this spring with Zero Res. You might think because you mop off and your floors are clean, but they're actually collecting dirt not obvious to the eye. After a while, the hardwood or tile or LVP looks dull. This is where Zero Res can help. This month, 20% off all hard floor cleaning. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $135. Call 287-5727 or go online at zeroresjacksonville.com. Make sure to ask for the 1010XL special.
Zero Res. The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hacker here. How many of you remember hearing about 40 by the 4th last year? Thought about making the call to Awaken 180 and then didn't? Then Independence Day rolled around, you hadn't lost a pound, kicking yourself for not pulling the trigger when you heard the ad. I've been there on plenty of other stuff in life, so no judgment. But here's the difference this year. Awaken 180 just launched Reclaim, a 10-week plan with a real start, a real finish line, and one clear goal. 40 pounds by the 4th. Not eventually, 10 10 weeks mapped out, and then free support for life. You all know my results with Awaken 180. You can have the same. Celebrate Independence Day 40 pounds lighter, cold beer, and a burger in hand, thanking yourself that you made the call to Awaken 180. And you won't be the only one. Hayes has a buddy jumping on board, and our sales guy Greg just told me he is making this his year. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey, I've got that craving again. How about some Mr. Chubby's wings?
Have you had the Chubby style wings? Grilled to perfection with Chubby's secret seasoning.
You know I have. They are so delicious. I swear you can't find anywhere in town with better wings and better prices on drinks.
So many different specials each night, too. Well, I'm ready to chub it up again.
Me too.
See all their specials at MrChubby'sWings.com. Locations on Fleming Island, the West Side, and Ponte Vedra Beach. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Here's your 1010XL local sports update, sponsored by Southern Oak Insurance. Jag GM James Gladstone shared remarks on the team's draft results.
Really excited about the outcome and the results, and look forward to these guys each getting a shot to hit the ground running.
JU will host the ASUN men and women's lacrosse all week at Rock Stadium. 8 teams, 8 games, and an NCAA tournament bids on the line as JU looks to defend home turf. That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
Right now, 72 degrees at 11:03. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Put your loving hand out, baby. I'm begging.
Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, live at Southampton Golf Course here off of State Road 210, and we got to look right down the 1st and 10th fairways here, Tony, out the back of the clubhouse as the Guggen Open is now about an hour underway at this point in time. A lot of folks hitting the links and having a festive day. Kind of breezy out there. Hope you get some tailwinds.
Yeah, I pretty much lived in that bunker on the right side on 10 virtually every time I played.
Bro, you know,
like
I used to, and then I started being able to turn the ball over right to left, and at 10, you know, I got to the point where, like, I could carry that bunker pretty easy. You know what I mean? It's just anyway, Southampton's a fun course. It's short. Yeah, let's be honest. A short course that makes you feel good about yourself. And I don't know if I birdied. I don't know if I've birdied 7, the par 3. But I think I birdied probably every other hole out here. You know, we're talking about 50 rounds at Southampton. You better get your birdies in. All right, back to the Jags here on their front. We're going to get Stephen Melbourne up right now. Then we're going to go through and talk about some of the positions they didn't address and what that may mean for their thought process here. Steve, welcome to Jaguars Today. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm more along the lines of I want to see how this plays out. I mean, Borkature, in a way, was more like when we drafted Brenton Strange, known for blocking. Not the highest stat, but known for blocking. Regis did most of the dirty work for the Aggies. We already know what Pregnon is. He's a road grader. With Husky, I kind of see it. I mean, physicality is not what he's known for, but he's a center fielder. He's got great ball skills. Wesley has me intrigued. I think he's solid, but he's also known for blocking kicks and punts, which I find intriguing as well. I mean, the fact that we didn't address linebacker until the 7th round, I guess they're basing a lot of that on what Coach Campanelli can do if he gets any form of linebacker, which would be good. I like the Josh pick. I mean, he's a wide receiver built like a running back. CJ, both of those aren't afraid to do the dirty work. The other guy is a 6'7" phenom. So, in a way, I just really want to see how it plays out. Did it go the way I would have wanted or how I expected? No. But I'm going to let it play out.
Well, you don't have a choice. No, what else are you going to do? You have to. You're a fan. I'm a media guy. We don't have any choice. We have to let it play out.
No, we'll all evaluate it as it goes.
Right, and we're going to give our opinions, but it's not like we can change anything here. We're just giving opinions about this. Of course, I mean, there's obviously the way to judge a draft class is probably after those players are retired and what kind of impact and where do they get second contracts? Did you sign with second contracts? Did they help you win? There's so many different factors that go into it. But okay, so Tony, tomorrow we're going to go do a show on the 2012 draft class and whether that worked out for the. I mean, who cares?
We can do that.
We can, but
we got
it's not,
plenty of time in the summer to do that kind of thing, but not the day after.
And I understand that. Look, you have no choice but to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, what was your? Well, I'm not gonna wait to find out. Okay, so you can be mad or you can be happy or whatever, and none of our opinions are going to impact the outcome of these players one iota.
No, yeah. Look, we did Mondays for a while now. We've been doing the mock drafts, right? So we had different names that would come up every now and then. I can tell you every time that I mock draft that tied into the Jags, every time I did it, I would be like,
And I wouldn't at 56.
Like that's just the kind of feeling I had every time I did it. Was just, oh, okay, I guess. You know, that kind of, with running back, it was the same kind of thing for me. Every time I would do it, I'd be like, like I felt like I was just throwing one away. That doesn't mean that they feel that way about it. And I look at the way that the two wide receivers they drafted, it makes sense to me that they would be bringing in guys that are more special teams guys, because what else would you be drafting at wide receiver from a Jaguars perspective right now if you're not looking for who is the 4th, 5th, and 6th wide receiver on our depth chart? Like, that's where there was an opening.
These
for the Jacksonville
receivers
Jaguars
will impact the Jags' run game more than the pass game.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's, look, that's not the message they're telling you. We want to be tough. We want, and look,
special teams and
we
run
want guys
game,
that love football. Why is that important? Because guys are coming in the league with money in their pocket, crazy money that they've never had before. And you know what? If you're a guy who's like, man, I ain't going to listen to this guy yell at me for the next 10 years. You get one contract, you get another $10 million, you get out. That is a viable path because you're coming in to the league in some cases as a millionaire already with these players. So you got to find guys that are not in it for just the money or the glory. You got to find guys that love the game of football. And I know that sounds cliche, but that's what they're trying to build. They're trying to build toughness. They're trying to build, as what did Emmanuel Pregnon get described? Ass and mass, right? We want guys that are going to get up under your chin strap and move you whether you like it or not. And we want this mentality, this tough mentality. And I get what they're trying to do. I do. You can still say, did they use the resources in the proper way to build that? Clearly, they felt they did because they said we had 11 guys kind of like targeted with 11 picks. And obviously, they ended up with 10 picks, and they got 10 of the 11. Yep. So they knew exactly who they were hoping to get at those selections. So it wasn't like people were saying, oh, you know what? They panicked when the Patriots moved up to get Gabe Akis ahead of them. I don't think they were taking Gabe Akis. No. I just think they were like, no, all right, so we're going to start the tight end run here.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of fans that wanted them to take Gabe Akis.
Yes.
So when the Patriots moved and made the pick, they were like, oh, we got hosed. It's like, it's not a fantasy draft, right? Like, it's not like you're waiting on a wide receiver and the guy right before you takes the wide receiver, so now you got to pivot.
Oh, I got to pivot. No.
Right, like you've always felt that way. I don't think the Jaguars reacted that way, even when we saw Caldwell talking about it. It's like, they took who? Right, it's okay. Like
Cohen.
they were, they were very, very comfortable.
Yeah, he
with
was
the whole
like,
thing.
he was, and I don't think, unless he's a great actor, I don't think Liam Cohen's going, you know, like, oh man, I'm going to get up there and fool him. Well, he's like, what? Who was it? New England? He goes, who did they take?
Yeah,
like because he was being asked about it. Like, and I think the insinuation was they got jumped. Now maybe the Patriots thought they were going to take him.
Yep,
and so be it.
So they moved.
You know what? What if it had been denied Dennis Sutton? Right? Mm-hmm. We don't know who they were, how they graded these guys. He lasted a long time sitting out there. They had multiple chances. So did every other team in the league to get them. I just want to bring a little focus back on some of the stuff they didn't do.
Sure.
Here, right? Like one thing, you know, they were asked, did you really do much quarterback evaluation? Nah, not really, right? They just weren't in the market. I think they're happy with Nick Mullins. They signed Joey Aguilar. That's an upside play. I like that play, right? Mm-hmm. Because I know who he is, and he played in the SEC. And fine, you know, beyond that, you're competing to be, at best, the third quarterback when we're probably only going to carry two, so you're a practice squad developmental guy. And if they're content with Nick Mullins, then I understand they didn't evaluate that. Running back, Tone, I said it from the beginning. I never understood it. And Jadarian Price, this guy, that guy, Emmett Johnson, Mike Washington. They passed on all these guys. They had multiple opportunities. Now, did the Chiefs jump up thinking that they were going to take Emmett Johnson? Here's the thing. Last year, remember, the word was they wanted R.J. Harvey. We found out after the draft, right? and he came off the board at 60. Immediately, the Jags said, okay, we're open for business. We're ready to move back. This was kind of the guy we're targeting here, and they made that trade back with Detroit, and that's why they had the extra third-rounders this year. I think if they got kind of like blindside, like if they were targeting Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska, where the Chiefs took him, I think, in the 5th round, then maybe you're all of a sudden you're working the phones and you're trying to move out of that spot. I think they were just like, nah, go ahead. Take who you think we want. Because that's not who we want.
Yeah.
Now, are they right? Who the hell knows, man? I don't know. Call me in a dozen years if I'm still drawing breath. I don't know. Get to running back when we come back.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a timeout because, I didn't think it was likely to go high, and they didn't go at all. Now, they signed an interesting player in undrafted free agency, but that's undrafted free agency. How good is undrafted free agency going to be in a draft where it was seen like the overall quality was not that great, and the 5th round may have been the 7th round, right? So then what is these typical undrafted guys, some of them probably wouldn't even been signed in an average year.
If you find a couple guys that can stick on the 53, you've done it.
A couple. On the 50, heck, right, if you find 8 that stick on the practice squad, you've probably done a hell of a job, and eventually 1 or 2 that can impact the 53. So we'll continue along. If you want to get in, we are live at Southampton, but we are taking your calls this morning, reacting to the Jaguars draft class at 641-1010 on the Key Buick GMC phone lines. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. 1010XL.
This moment will be the moment of something real and fun and inspiring, and we will do it together. Who's coming with me?
1010XL.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I can tell you as Walk-Off Charities has grown, we now manage a large athletic facility with numerous fields, including the Bregan Baseball Complex. To get around, we needed a good, reliable golf cart. I went straight to Dynamic Drives and Design in Jacksonville. I met with Travis, told him exactly what our needs were. Would you believe before you knew it, the perfect cart was delivered to us at an incredible price? If you need a golf cart, Travis and his team are the go-to. Learn more about them at dynamicdrivesdesign.com.
Jaguars Today.
You're settled into a Dream Finders Homes Monday.
Hi, I'm Kelly, owner of DexaFit Jacksonville. Do you really know your numbers? Body fat, muscle, and bone density? At DexaFit Jacksonville, we use the DEXA-Scan, the gold standard for precise body composition data. We also measure VO2 max and resting metabolic rate, giving you a complete picture of how your body performs and burns fuel. No guessing, just clinical, science-backed data you can track over time just like an athlete. Book today at jacksonville.dexafit.com.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your national builder of the year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% and homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
He tackles talk radio like a middle linebacker in the gap.
I tell it like I see it, and I see it like a middle linebacker.
Tommy Mack. Fridays on Jaguars Today. Unsealed by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional and investment loans. At Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296, Ryan Salem, NMLS ID 1182429, Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
Hi, folks. Frank Frangie for the farm at Okefenokee. My wife and I and a bunch of friends just got back from the farm, and we had an incredible experience. We toured the regenerative farm, as well as the beautiful handcrafted cabins, and were treated to a fantastic farm-to-table dinner created by Congreve and Penn. Man, was it good. Well, you can learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com. And even hear my interview with farm co-founder Doug Davis to learn even more about this amazing property. That's okefarm.com.
Did you know that an annual coating inspection can extend the life of your building by years? Catching early signs like hairline cracks, fading, and moisture intrusion helps prevent costly repairs down the road and keeps your property looking its best. Our team at Performance Painting helps you stay ahead of maintenance with professional inspections and long-lasting coating solutions. Protect your building, protect your budget. Go to performance-painting.com to schedule a free inspection. Performance Painting, repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Jacksonville, your refund just hit. Don't let it vanish on bills. Superior Fence and Rail doubles it. Match up to $250 on 100 feet or more. Picture this. One-day install transforms your yard into a private oasis with a quality that turns heads. From check to fenced paradise, faster than you think. Call today or visit SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Now party people in the club, it's time to cut a rug and throw the chips up in the sky just for the shutter bugs.
Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
It's funny, this is what Tony was playing in his car when he pulled into Southampton this morning. He had the windows rolled down, he had the subwoofers booming, whatever they are. I don't know. They're part of a speaker system. I found when I was a kid, I'm sure they were hot, right? But I used to collect aluminum cans. You know, I used to ride on my bike and throw them in a bag or whatnot. And I found these boxes, like kind of in the woods, like near the side of the road. And they were two brand new car speakers. And, it seemed like they might have been swiped from somewhere and fallen off the back of the truck. And I don't remember what I ended up doing with them. My parents were probably like, those are hot. Go put them back. I'm like, Mom, they were in the woods.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So running back quickly before we go back to the phone lines here. Okay. Didn't buy the Jadarian Price stuff. I mean, but here again.
We talked about it on Friday. We were fist pumping when it happened.
Yes. Yeah. The one he came off the board. Then again, I'm not in the war room.
No.
I don't know what they're talking about. So could I be completely wrong? Well, I thought they'd prioritize linebacker. Last year, what do we think they'd prioritize? Defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Right?
Defensive tackle, yeah.
DT. And then nothing. Right? Nothing in the draft. So they have a different vision than the consensus vision of what they want their team to look like. And, oh, by the way, at the end of the day, they're the number one run defense in the league last year, right? Now, they still needed more pass rushers, no question about that. But in terms of, think of a defensive tackle, I think your primary job is plugging it up and then get to the quarterback is next. So they lost Devin Lloyd. What are they going to do to replace his impact? Well, they may feel that their scheme is going to help them replace his impact by having the right guy in the right place. And are they right? Are they wrong? But the running back thing didn't make sense. You took two in the draft last year, and then you signed one free agent, and it was a running back. And you moved off of Tank Bigsby last year because you said, we're never going to have four active on game day. So now everyone's like, we're going to take Jadarian Price? Like, what are you talking about?
To trade who?
Exactly. Or to bench who? Or to inactivate which one of these guys? So, to me, this is a massive endorsement of Bashal Tutin as well as Chris Rodriguez, the combo package, because they're going to be your lead guys on first and second down at least.
Absolutely.
And,
they have a role for LaQuint Allen, and I don't know how much that's going to change to the third down back. Again, the LaQuint Allen one is so interesting to me because he is as effective as he is as a pickup guy. So it gets him on the field. Early in his career, we knew going into his rookie season, he has this role. Those kind of guys, if they can give you any kind of juice actually carrying the ball, that's how they find impact in the league. If you're trusted to block for the quarterback when we're asking you to do it, your role has room to expand for a guy like LaQuint Allen. But going into this draft, people that were talking about it, I think you and I were on the same page. It's like, why? Like, where's the room
Didn't
on the
make
roster?
sense math-wise, and the investment that they had in
Yeah.
guys. Now, again, look, I get it. They have shown a propensity and a willingness already to move on if you make a mistake and a bad evaluation, if it doesn't work, okay, we're not going to sit there. But I didn't see anything from Bajal Tutin that indicated to me that they had made a mistake with him.
No, and I think if they're willing to say the stink they were trying to fix is in the run game, right? So everyone kind of gets focused on whatever they want to get focused on with that. Well, their answer to it was obviously blocking tight
Mass
end,
and mass,
right?
at
is
the guard position.
that kind of like they absolutely addressed that kind of thing. Maybe not exactly how everyone thought they would going into the process, but I think when they talked about this being a priority for them, well, it certainly looks like a priority coming out of the draft, just not at the running back position.
Well, and because they'd already addressed that with Chris Rodriguez, and we could say, Chris Rodriguez, just a guy. Maybe he'll turn out to be that, but they have a vision for how Chris Rodriguez will be effective, particularly as a short yardage people mover in the offense. He's not a guy who gets knocked back very often. He's going to get you the hole is for 2, he'll get you 4. He's that kind of guy.
We all got the opportunity to watch the process of them actually making the deal to get him on the hunt a couple weeks ago, right? Like, we all got to watch the room reacting to it when they actually could go get the Rodriguez thing done. There was excitement in the room. There's a reason there was excitement in the room, right, to go pick that guy up. They have a plan. They have a vision for what that's going to look like. I was with you the whole time. I don't get the running back thing. I never did. I'm fine with them coming out of the weekend and undrafted guy, fine. Maybe he has a chance to stick at some point. I don't expect him to make the roster. He's a practice
squad
guy.
I don't either, right?
Yeah.
He'll compete to be the next man up if they have an injury. So tiny feather in the cap, but at the same time, I'm sitting there going, we got Anthony Hill. Oh, all right. I guess hey, don't forget, Jalen McLeod's coming back, Tony. And, we got Ventrell Miller, and we got these guys, and we just don't look at investing in that spot. And that doesn't mean Anthony Hill's not worth that investment to the right team, because clearly I think Robert Saleh's a pretty sharp defensive guy.
Yes.
And I'm sure he had input in that selection 4 picks later. And we'll see, because we're going to see Anthony Hill for the next 4 to 5 years or more in a Tennessee uniform coming to Jacksonville every year. We got Dave in New Jersey, I believe, next up here on Jaguars Today. Dave, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. Love the show. Listen every day. Just wanted to say about the Jeff. I was a little bit concerned about taking tight end in the second, mainly because I kind of watched how the Rams do things. The Rams don't really seem to value tight end as a high priority, player to keep when it comes to free agency. And I really hope that they are not planning to let Brent Strange go, because I really feel like he's the attitude of the team. He's the attitude of what the coaching staff wants us to be. So I'm praying that we keep him. Also, when it comes to I did love this the guy, I forgot his name, the guard from Oregon. I really think he's going to be a really good player for us. I also like the DN from not from Kentucky. I'm thinking about Josh Allen. The DN we drafted from, I forgot what it was, but whatever it was. Yeah, Duke. I'm sorry, I was thinking of the colors. I think he could be a really good, not even an impact player, but somebody who can step in. And he kind of reminds me of Josh Allen. He's long. He could probably put on 10, maybe 15 more pounds. He's a little bit stronger. But overall, I like the draft. I like the fact that we didn't even take running back. I really didn't think we needed one in this draft. So overall, I really love the draft. I love the direction of the team. I just hope that we don't let Brenton Strange go. I hope we keep.
Okay, all right. Let me jump here. Your very first point, the Rams don't take tight ends high. Colby Parkinson was a second-round pick, and Max Clare was just taken at pick 61 on Friday by the L.A. Rams. So there are 2 second-round picks on the Rams roster right now at the tight end position. 2 second-round picks from the Jags. So if you say the Rams don't draft them high, then I guess the Jags don't draft them high either. They have the same amount of second-round picks. So I think that is a non-starter right there. Secondly, I don't give a damn if the Rams take him the 2nd round or the 6th round or the 3rd round or whatever. Just because they came from that philosophy and they have Lauren Dix doesn't mean they have to be the little kid tugging at the coattails. Is it okay if I take a tight end now? What are the Rams going to do about this? Screw the Rams, okay? Rams say F them picks. I say F them Rams. I don't care anymore, okay? This is about the Jags now. And the Brenton Strange thing, I think, is one of the biggest crazy. Where do people get this idea? They are showing you we cannot have enough of these physical, hopefully two-way tight ends. We want to set this tone. They have the archetype of that. They have the exemplar of what they want at tight end in Brenton Strange. So you think they're going to draft a guy in the second round after they've already said they're working on an extension with Brenton Strange to move off of Brenton Strange? Yeah. They want to enhance this room, but he is the sun that every other tight end orbits around in that tight end room. I think it's crazy, this notion that this must mean they're not getting along with Brenton Strange in negotiations or whatever, what have you. Somebody said, well, at least this gives them the chance to evaluate where things are going by August. Evaluate what? You're going to see these guys in some rookie camps and some OTAs with no pads on. You're not going to evaluate doodly poo, okay, in terms of should we move off of Brenton Strange. Brenton Strange is like the beating heart of the kind of team that they want to be. That doesn't make him the best player on the team. I'm just saying he is like the example of if you could go to the lab and put a tight end together for their vision, that is the guy.
Yeah, and I think it's – look, Borkature is 1 year younger than Brenton Strange now.
Right.
Right? Like, he's 24 years old coming into the league. Brenton Strange is 25. Right? Like, this is still so much is in front of Brenton Strange. Frustrating that he had the injuries he had last year. I think they saw how much changed when they didn't have Strange on the field. They wanted to upgrade the toughness on the back half of that depth chart at tight end. Fine. More of a priority for them than it is for me, but I don't think it says anything about them not being interested now in bringing Brenton Strange back. Like, I think he's among the guys that they don't have it done with yet as far as extensions. If he's the next one to get done, if he's not the next one to get done, I'd be surprised. Still at this point in my mind.
Right. I think he's more important to them, their vision, than Parker Washington is.
Yes.
And I think they're both going to get done at a certain point. I don't think they're even putting it out there. I don't think there's any – these things don't happen at the snap of the finger. I mean, why would you think, man, we want some rugged tight end who will knock you on your butt, and he can also give you something in the passing game. You've got that at home. Right? His name is Brenton Strange. They want more. What if Brenton Strange gets hurt? Oh, he did last year, right? Now, again, I'm not saying that don't put words in my mouth and think I'm saying that they should have taken a blocking tight end at 56. That's not what I'm saying. But for them, that's the value they place on it. I don't as much, but I'm not putting the team together.
No.
So, between that and Koziel and I guess Quentin Morris will be – they're your four tight ends that are going to be on this roster this year. And I just didn't think we'd be drafting the Hunter Long replacement at pick 56.
No.
All right, that's what it came. If they were moving, like, I get it. It makes you wonder, well, why hit 56? Maybe there is something there. That's the thing. I don't think there's anything that's going to stop them from getting something done with Brenton Strange, unless Brenton Strange wants $35 million a year, which I don't get the sense that'll be the case. You know what I mean, right? I mean, somebody can always price themselves out, but and until and unless I hear some reporting that indicates they're at odds, I'm going to presume that they work in darkness, man, and they'll pop up and they'll say, hey, we got this done. And we didn't even know it was about to be announced. But he is – I mean, this is the room you're trying to build. This is – what type of tight end would you like? The Brenton Strange type. Oh, so we got him, so let's move off of him? That makes some of the least sense of any of the commentary that I heard all weekend long or reflecting on what the Jags draft means for this team. Now, am I right? Maybe not, but I'm the one sitting here and needed to give my opinion, so that is my opinion on Brenton Strange and all that. Now, you could say, hey, Tony, was he the right one? Should they have taken Oscar Delp? I would have, I would have taken Sam Roush, who is probably a more accomplished receiver and is also known to be a mauling blocker. But I don't sit there and put the film in and have these conversations for months about how this guy is going to fit into my offense. But I think people would have understood that as well. That doesn't mean it would have been the right pick. Sam Roush wasn't the first tight end taken. He wasn't even the next tight end taken. Martin Klein out of Michigan, Max Clare out of Ohio State going to the Texans and the Rams before Roush came off the board. So other teams probably had an evaluation that if this is what we're looking for, he doesn't fit exactly, at least as well as some of these other guys. I don't know, man. It's one of those things. Nobody really knows. We've all got opinions. We're all welcome to them. And I appreciate everybody sharing them with us this morning. Still time for you to get in if you'd like on a Reaction Monday. Jags, how they do in the draft. What is your feeling about the players that they got and the assets they used to acquire them? Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith live at Southampton for the Guggen Open Golf Tournament here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Believe in the unbelievable.
Unbelievable!
1010XL.
I can't believe it! I can't believe it!
We're hearing is believing.
Unbelievable!
Hey, Jacksonville, this is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, proud partner and orthopedic specialist of Jacksonville. We're honored that the Jacksonville Icemen rely on our team for their sports medicine and orthopedic care. We built this practice with one mission, to raise the bar for orthopedic care right here in our hometown. Faster access, smarter treatment plans, and better results. Whether you're recovering from a sports injury or managing joint pain, we're here to help you get back in the game, stronger and pain-free. Visit osjax.com to learn more. That's osjax.com.
Dreamfinders Homes Monday.
Jaguars Today.
Make Capital Glass and Shower Doors your premier choice for top quality glass solutions. With over 40 years of expertise, their team specializes in commercial and residential projects. From elegant shower doors to modern frameless enclosures, they've got you covered. But that's not all. They also offer glass railing systems, glass wine cabinets, and much more. For unmatched quality and service, choose Capital Glass and Shower Doors. Your vision, their expertise. Visit online at capcoglass.com.
The Golf Club of Southampton is gearing up for brand new greens and a lot more, and now's your chance to save on membership before the fee increase. Take advantage of $1,000 savings if you join before the work starts in late April and before the initiation fee goes up. It's a great deal, plus $500 additionally in Pro Shop credit. Don't miss out. All the details are at golfsouthampton.com. Become a member now and save big. The course is in great shape, so head on out to the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and get on the tee.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, the Checkmate chess man.
At most companies, people start on the ground floor and work their way up to the corner office. At Checkmate, I started on the ground floor, and almost 20 years in, that's still where I am, making ground floors look awesome, one garage at a time.
Well, I started as a pawn and worked my way up to king.
No, you didn't. Some guy drew you as a king. I asked them to give you a roller, so at least you'd look like one of the guys.
Yes, I rather would have preferred a sword.
At Checkmate, I work personally with our teams to perfect the preparation and application techniques that make Checkmate floors beautiful and durable.
And I keep things classy with my adorable accent.
Beautiful floors?
Check. Guaranteed to last?
Check. The finishing touch your home deserves? Checkmate.
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com.
What Major League Baseball teams have never won a World Series?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
There are 5 Major League Baseball teams that have never won a World Series: Colorado, Milwaukee, San Diego, Seattle, and Tampa Bay.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
1010XL, presented by Farrah and Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farrah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Well, the golden moment for today yet to be determined, right? And I think for most people who are Jaguar observers, we hope that they're all golden selections, but I think the one that stands out positively for most people is Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon, Tony. Mm-hmm. But why does he stand out positively? Well, because we're conditioned to think he was a top 40 player, right? I mean, so there is some of that, right? We can't take Borkircher there because he's ranked 163rd. Well, but we got to steal on this guy. So do you believe the rankings? Do you not believe the rankings? Because the NFL didn't believe that Pregnon was the 35th best player.
Obviously,
because he was still available there. I had forgotten about. Honestly, I didn't even think that much about him during the process because he was so often just a guy that would never fall to you. In any scenario, that you just have to assume that we're going to be wasting breath talking about that
to
guy.
a point where last Tuesday when I had Jamal St. Cyrin with me and I did a full 7-round mock with him.
Yes.
Right? And I had gotten it set where they were on the clock at 56 and I didn't show him the screen. I was like, I'm not going to pull it up. I want you to tell me 2 or 3 names that you're hoping are going to be available when I pull this up right now. Just kind of blind looking at it. He said Pregnon, probably at the top of my list.
Okay.
Right? And so I pull it up, and Pregnon was right there.
Okay.
And so that's what he wound up doing in the second round. But that's around the range where I thought if at any time they were going to have the chance to do it, it would have to be at 56.
Sure.
Right? What's the way that I was thinking about it. So for them to do it when they did it, obviously came as a shock to me, when it winds up going that way. And he is the player that they drafted that I think has the best chance to be a starter, to begin his rookie season. Doesn't mean he definitely will be,
right,
but has the best chance to step into a starting role for him going into the 2026 season. So, yeah, I think there's reasons that a lot of people are going to be excited about that one. Doesn't mean your evaluation on him because you saw him on a bunch of mock drafts where he was going, wherever he was going top of the second round, and you wind up getting him where you got him. I don't know. Maybe the eval was that far off and you shouldn't be all that excited. But we'll see.
Or he fits certain types of schemes and he didn't fit every scheme. Like we had convinced ourselves Jennings Dunker. And Dunker went shortly after Pregnon went, right? And I would have been fine with that. You don't know. And again, we talked about it. Some of those tight ends that went immediately after the Jags, somebody made a great point, and I don't remember who it was on social media. If the Jags had taken one of them, we'd have been saying, oh, nope, they would have blasted until pick 81. Well, clearly they wouldn't have, because look where they went. Now, maybe one of them might have, because maybe then Borkerker would have been taken in the place of one of them. And then we'd be looking at all these teams, but there's so many teams that are going this route, seemingly, and it is feeding this reach on the consensus board thing because people don't value the inline blocking tight ends. Now, that's not to say that Borkercher can't catch passes as well. And again, I'm like everybody else. I get conditioned to names. Sam Roush at Stanford, he's 6'7", he's 270. He's known for his blocking, and he's a pretty accomplished receiver. To me, that was the better pick, but not for the vision that they have. It's not like they don't know who Sam Roush is. They had the chance to take him. They evaluated him. They evaluated this guy, that guy, the other guy. They said, this is the guy. Yeah. Right. So you got to give him – look, it's their team, right? And you got to give them the latitude to form it in their own shape. And while we didn't get as much immediate impact out of that draft class, overall, the brain trust that brought you the 2026 Jacksonville Jaguars draft led them from 4 wins to 13 wins in the regular season. A division title, made the playoffs. Yes, it ended disappointingly. Yes, it did.
Despite only half a season from Hunter.
You made maybe the best damn point I've heard you make, Tony Smith, and I've been knowing you for a long damn time. That, people say, hey, if we had the pass rush to get Josh Allen off the field, your point, if we had the blocking tight end to pick up that 4th and 2, would we even be talking about that last drive? And who's to say either way, right? You just don't know. All right, back to the lines we go. It's 641-1010. Brian in Arlington is next up on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, good morning, fellas. I got 2 things, and kind of just coattails off of what you just said. I don't see where Baselli, Gladstone, and Cohen get together and completely just blow the draft and pick absolutely dog players. I just don't see that happening. That seems more unrealistic than anything I've seen around here in a long time. Number 2 is, I think what you guys said earlier before the break, it's quite obvious the Jaguars 1,000% did not take the best player on the board as far as knowledge that was known. But they 100% did take the best player that they wanted for what they were trying to do, and that was build the toughness in the tight end room. I mean, that's quite obvious. So there's the answer to everybody's question. They knew they didn't take the best player on the board, in my opinion, but they took the best player for what they thought was their biggest need in the team. I mean, it's pretty simple in my opinion.
All right,
so, thanks,
Brian. Appreciate it. Thank you. Again, we're getting into some semantics here, right?
Yeah.
So if in their mind, Borkercher is a really good player who fits exactly what they want to do, and it's not just a matter of need, it's like the vision of everything. He is the best player on their board to them, right? So when you say they didn't get the best player on the board, well, who was the best player? Was it Pregnon? Because he lasted to 88.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's my point just being, nobody knows what the NFL teams think about these guys. So you could have said, like, if Pregnon had went with the next pick, you could have been like, oh, damn, we could have had this guy who was mocked at 35 and we would have all been upset.
Sure.
And instead, he's there at 81 and we still don't take him.
Yeah.
And then he's there at 88. Okay, we're going to take him right here. But clearly wasn't their top priority. And their board obviously is going to be different than the Patriots board and the Texans board and everybody else's board.
What played out right around where they made the decision they did in the draft was there were a bunch of teams, as you just mentioned, who got similar tight ends, right, at the bottom half of that second round. A bunch of teams went in on that kind of thing. So if they were anticipating, we think a run is going to happen, at some point on this style of tight end, we have our preference among this entire group as to which guy we want most from that list of names. We got to do it now or he may not be available to us when we go back on the clock at 81. We prioritize this guy. They made the decision. I don't necessarily think it's the right decision. I don't necessarily even agree with it, right? Like the thought process for, saying that this is what we need more than anything else, maybe on the roster at this point in time. No, it's not the way that I see the roster at this point in time, but they did.
Right.
Like the way that they handled the entire draft was that kind of thing. Like it's that this is what they were willing to prioritize. Whether they're right or wrong, we don't know. Everyone's going to react to it whatever way they want to react to it. But did they anticipate a run on this kind of tight end right around where they started one? Probably. And that's why they
had him. And guess what? They were right.
Right. That's why they had the guy where they had the guy. If we're not doing it now, we're not getting it. And they said, we want it. So they made the decision.
Right. Look, I think there's a really good chance the way it played out that if they had not taken Borkircher, they wouldn't have gotten him. Now, it's also fair if you say, so what?
Yeah.
He's
they would have been bummed
Hunter Long.
Right. They would have been bummed about it. You wouldn't have even noticed it happen.
Correct.
Right? But that doesn't mean that they wouldn't have reacted to it. It's why they made the decision they did. Again, all this will be evaluated over the next several years, but react however you want to react.
I'm drawing a. Who's the big lineman they took in the fourth round a couple of years ago under Balky, right? From like Southern Cal. Was he from Southern Cal or was he Missouri? Was he a Missouri offensive tackle? You know the guy I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Took him in the fourth round, right?
Yeah.
Never damn broke the roster,
Didn't
never mind the lineup,
field,
right?
Yeah.
And that, what people said afterwards, that was like the coaching staff was like, we did what? Was Javon Foster?
Javon Foster.
That's who it was, right? That the word is that Peterson was like, what? And this was balkying and saying, this is who I'm taking, whether you like it or not. Whatever you think. If you think that James Glasser's is going out there going, I'm going to show everybody. No, this is, they are truly.
Everyone did the work and turned it in, and this is what it came out.
Cohen and Baselli and Gladstone, I think, privately would be just as enthusiastic about this as they are publicly. I don't think there's any you can't slide a piece of paper between their opinions.
There's a synergy with what they did in the draft this weekend. It doesn't make them right, but it doesn't make them wrong just because you disagree with it.
Well, that's the other point too, right? Just because we want it to be, we want to love Gladstone. Look, we'd all be sitting here if Tennessee had this draft. We'd all be sitting here going, they reach, they reach across, right? Yeah. So we have a built-in proclivity to root for and
there's a bias.
There's a total bias in there, and works on both sides of the ledger. All right, final segment coming up. Still time for you to get in, and if you don't get in today, we'll be doing this for quite a while. All right, with draft recaps coming up. XL Primetime at the top of the hour. We are live at Southampton for the Guggen Open Golf Tournament on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars today.
You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service. Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care, totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
It's a Dreamfinders Homes Monday.
Official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ackerman Cancer Center is the community leader in cancer treatment, offering advanced proton therapy treatment for cancers near vital organs or complex, hard-to-reach areas. Take charge of your well-being with AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Top salespeople don't rely on talent. They follow a system. At Sandler Sales Jacksonville Boot Camp, you'll learn how to control conversations, handle objections, and close with confidence. Matt Rocco with Sandler Sales here. We can help. There's a 2-day sales boot camp in Jacksonville, May 13th and 14th. We'll show you how to increase performance or that of your team. Call 904-646-1900. That's 904-646-1900 to reserve your seat today.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes with an opportunity again this year, just in case you haven't taken advantage of it in the past. Take the opportunity to drop 40 pounds by the 4th with a Waco 180. It sounds a little different when you put a real goal to it, doesn't it? To make it easier, a Waco 180 has lost Reclaim by a Waco 180. Reclaim is a simple 10-week plan designed to help you reach your weight and health goals. A beginning and an end and a real finish line. It just makes more sense. I dropped my 40 within 10 weeks, and like I always tell you, it was easy. Reclaim by a Waco 180 arrives at the perfect time for you to reach your 40 by the 4th and then keep it off with free support for life. Any medication, diet, or workout plan will say you'll see the results. But how many will say in 10 weeks you'll be a new version of yourself, thanking the old you for making that call to a Waco 180? 40 by the 4th isn't just a slogan. It's an opportunity to succeed with Reclaim by a Waco 180. Only at awaco180weightloss.com.
Did you know that an annual coating inspection can extend the life of your building by years? Catching early signs like hairline cracks, fading, and moisture intrusion helps prevent costly repairs down the road and keeps your property looking its best. Our team at Performance Painting helps you stay ahead of maintenance with professional inspections and long-lasting coating solutions. Protect your building, protect your budget. Go to performance-painting.com to schedule a free inspection. Performance Painting, repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Spring is here. Is your yard ready? Lucas Tree Service, a family-owned business with over 45 years of experience, is Jacksonville's certified arborist for safe tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for homes and businesses. Protect your property, boost your curb appeal, and enjoy expert service you can trust. Keep your trees healthy and safe before summer arrives. Schedule your inspection today at lucastreeservice.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler, and this Mother's Day, we'd like to help you celebrate Mom with up to 40% off our entire inventory. GIA-certified natural diamonds and lab-grown diamonds, beautiful colored gemstones, designer brands, custom jewelry design, and Monahan Jewelers offers interest-free financing on any purchase, so get something special with a payment you can afford. Come celebrate Mom with fine jewelry at up to 40% off at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Hey, Hicken here. Beat the spring cleaning rush and call Zero Res. This month, take 20% off your whole home air duct cleaning and start breathing fresh air again. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com.
Zero Res.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Everything you need to know about the Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, Tone, let me just name some names here. Tanner Koziel, Josh Cameron, C.J. Williams, Zach Durfee, and Parker Hughes. I don't know if we've spoken much about their names today, right? Look, it's the back half of what is considered a not great draft class. Does that mean there won't be good players selected in the back half of this draft? Of course there will be, right? Hopefully the Jags found a few of them. I want to spend a minute or two talking about Jalen Husky. I said it earlier. I would have rolled the dice on Jermod McCoy at that pick, but does this selection, and I understood the explanation that Liam Cohen and James Gladstone gave, and I can't remember exactly whose mouth it came out of because, they're both up there at the podium and they're talking in lockstep here, but they're talking about, with this move towards these bigger personnel packages, 12 personnel, 13, with just simply 12, one running back, two tight ends, 13.
Teams are running the ball a lot more
right.
than they did 5 years ago.
We need bigger guys who can cover these guys, but also physically match up with them, so we need some bigger defensive backs. But Jalen Husky seems to me, who's this sound like? Played corner and safety, played some nickel in college, rangy, can play the back end of the.
Wait. What did he do at the Senior Bowl?
Very well. Impressed. Is that? Can we just scratch out the name and insert Caleb Ransaw? Isn't that the exact
Certainly
same thing you
similar,
drafted
yeah.
last year? So my question is Caleb Ransaw on track to be what they thought he was going to be, healthy? And the player, we don't know.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him in any meaningful action to
Yeah.
this point in time. But
the question is still very much open.
Right. I mean, is this a reflection on they're not sure what they're going to get out of Ransaw? Or I mean, this guy was your second selection in the draft last year.
And as I mentioned earlier in the show, with what they did in the draft with Pregnon and that, right? Like at safety, they had guys that they drafted last year that I think they saw roles for in very similar veins to the guys that they drafted this weekend again at the same spots. Is it saying that they just don't believe in what they brought in last year as much as they thought they would after a year of having these guys in the building for different reasons? Ransaw, it's the thing, Milam for whatever, again, myriad of reasons for them to maybe not feel about it today the way they felt about it a year ago when they had a plan for these guys. Those are the two spots that they drafted last year that they hit again this year for their own reasons, but they did do it. Right, like these are guys that they had real roles for coming into their rookie seasons that didn't play roles essentially for him last year. And Milam, the more disappointing one to me, because it's not like he wasn't available.
Right,
he just
after a
didn't
certain
have a
point,
bigger role.
But it is tough, I think, as a rookie if you've missed training camp or a good portion of training camp to break in, because there's so few physical practices that you have throughout the course of the year. Putting that aside, I mean, Husky could also be an investment in the future. Eric Murray, maybe he's just here for one more year. Antonio Johnson, we don't know about Antonio Johnson. His name didn't come up in terms of the players that they talked about working on extensions with. Had a fantastic year. Can he do it again? So I get the eye towards the future. I just think the positional value of having a chance to take a shot on Jermod McCoy. Let's say Jermod McCoy's fine, at least early in his career. It gives you the flexibility. If you have a couple of injuries at wide receiver, hey, Travis Hunter, go full-time wide receiver. We've got this guy who's a first-round talent. We brought back Monteric. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. Now, who knows? Husky can make me eat my words and go out there and get a bunch of turnovers and whatever, but I would have rolled the dice on the upside. Then again, I have no access to the medical
It's
reports
hard
they had.
in the end for me to get excited about a draft where they bring in some tight ends, right, to help their run game. It seems like they bring in back into the depth chart special teams wide receivers essentially into the room. They draft another guard. They draft a safety, and that's kind of the big moves that they made this way. It's hard to get all that excited about that being the way that they handled the draft. It doesn't make them wrong, but it doesn't create an atmosphere of, oh, here we go. Right? Like it's not a rah-rah kind of draft.
Right, and the final thought on Husky. And look, again, obviously it was incorrect, but ESPN's tracker had Husky with an 18% chance to be drafted at all. In the entire draft, 18%, 82% likelihood he'd be an undrafted free agent. Do the Jags know more than everybody else? Maybe they do. But they are going to have to show that, and these guys are going to have to back them up with their play on the field. Let's welcome in XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
All right, Joe C. is in the house. Do you have any tight end eligibility left in
It's
your body?
unbelievable. We're going to go with 14 personnel if I'm out there.
Well, here's my question. If you're going 12, okay, last year you drafted Travis Hunter, not to be a corner, to be this revolutionary two-way player. Okay, so you got him.
Yeah.
You want to extend Parker.
Yeah.
You traded for and extended Jacoby. You have Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
So every time you're in 12 personnel, every time Borkercher is on the field, that's two of them.
Yeah.
Two of them that are not playing.
Yeah, one of the.
Have you changed
you're right,
your
right,
offensive philosophy?
Well, I still feel like they're not carbon copies of the Rams. They're not stepchildren to the Rams or anything like that. They're not the little LA. But they want to run the football with tight ends. I did not agree with the pick at all.
Then why invest the number 2 pick in a guy who's supposed to play full-time receiver?
I agree.
And trade for and extend another one, and getting ready to extend another wide receiver if you're going to play all these tight ends.
Well, guess what? Are they now already admitting they were wrong?
I don't know.
Yeah,
But I think that's a question. Was this your philosophy going into last year's draft? Because, and if not, at what point did it change?
Yeah, I feel like they now see Travis Hunter more at the NFL level of doing the job that he's the best gifted to play, which is that cover corner.
And if that's the case, then you told us he was going to revolutionize the game of football.
The unicorn, the Otani, all that stuff. Look, I'm not saying they're 100% wrong right now. I want to see what the end result of this is. But they dang sure want to run the football to be able to do more of what they need to do in the passing game.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. But you're right. Philosophically speaking, they went from trying to reach big and hit a grand slam with a two-way player, a unicorn of sorts, to now saying, hey, we need to run football better, and we're going to tight end up.
Hey, they don't have to take any of the players I like, man. I mean, we have our opinion. I hope they go 17-0.
Hey, at the very
Super
least,
Bowl. I don't care.
at the very least, I had Emmanuel Pregnant as one of my draft picks, and one of the texters said, "Did you just say Emmanuel was pregnant?" And because he was producing the show that day. That's the only reason I remember it, actually.
Well, and it's funny. Again, we're gonna say, well, did they reach on this guy? Well, you either have to acknowledge they reached, if you want to say we got to steal on Pregnant, because the same analysts were telling you he was like worth pick 35. Well, the NFL told you he wasn't worth picks 1 through 88.
Yeah, if we trust, we'll get into it, but Dane Brugler, who you trust, at least most people say, hey, he's a respected analyst when it comes to draft. He rated the Jaguars last on the board out of 36.
Most did.
Yeah, so.
Most did. And guess what? As we've said several times this morning, if Tennessee had this draft, we would have said the same damn thing.
You better believe it.
We would have said the same damn thing. Anyway, plenty to do, I'm sure, on XL Primetime.
All right,
out here in Southampton. There he goes. Joe C. and the crew getting ready to step in. Tone, it's always a spirited day, the day after the NFL draft. So, again, we'll continue to have throughout the week, giving you a chance to react to it. We'll start to trickle in with some other reporters' musings on what the Jags did. Bottom line, doesn't matter now. They've done what they've done. Go out there and win a bunch of football games. It's not like anybody's rooting for them to fail to prove their point that they should have taken a certain guy. I hope Anthony Hill is a miserable failure in the National Football League. I hope he's a half a contract, not even a one contract guy, because he went to the Titans.
Yeah.
I'm not hoping
I don't know anybody in his family. I don't have to root
for him.
I
don't care at all, So I hope he stinks, quite frankly. If he'd come here, I would have rooted like crazy for him, and just like I will for Borkircher and the whole lot of them. All right, that'll do it for us today. Thanks to R.J. Saunders back at World Headquarters. For Tony Smith, I'm Mike Dempsey. Keep it right here, live, coming to you from Southampton. The Guggen Open XL Primetime is next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom